It's okay.
This room looks.
Okay, it is 8:45 on Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Your Rich County Board of Commissioners are now in session. I'm Commissioner Tony Vero, joined by Commissioners Banks and Mears, our Senior Clerk Stacy Crawl. We have a room full of distinguished guests, including from Columbus, so I think it would be appropriate if they actually introduce themselves, although we all pretty much know each other, don't we? Except for James, right?
Yeah, I think so. James Kennedy, County Commissioners Association of Ohio.
Doc, take it away.
Dory Diab, President from Central State College.
Marilyn John, State Representative for Richland County.
Jody Perry, Mayor of Mansfield.
Barry Thomas, Economic Development.
Donnie Clark, Richland Area Chamber and Economic Development.
Andrew?
Richland County Administrator.
Okay, so we're here, this is a press conference, but we worked it into our regular session. This is a press conference to announce funding in two parts, $20 million state GRF funding for the Route 30 broadband expansion project. Just going to give a very, very brief history and then turn it over to Dr. Diab and Marilyn. But before we do that, the reason why we asked Marilyn and Doc to sit up front today is these are the two people that ultimately pushed the project through. In April of 23, state, Marilyn, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know the process better than myself, had set aside $20 million of the BEAD program dollars to fund this project. This comes off the heels of Maryland working hard to get it in the state budget. We had initially thought we would go through the governor's budget. And then when Lieutenant Governor Houston took his Senate seat, we kind of were left scrambling and Maryland really picked it up. And in April, when they appointed or used the BEAD money, and then conversations with James, we said, we can't use the BEAD money. Dr. Diab and Marilyn really went into overtime to make sure this project came through. So the people of Richland want to give kudos for a very, very significant project. It certainly goes to the two individuals sitting in the chair. And now no one wants to hear from me, and I'll turn it over to the people who actually made it happen at the end. So Doc and Marilyn, please take it away.
Well, good morning, everybody. We're certainly very pleased to be here. Not that often that we get $20 million coming to the community to enhance economic development. The idea was born about a couple of years ago. Okay. And again, the purpose was for economic development for our region, because as we all know, the internet connection and capacity is like utilities anymore. It's like water and electricity, right? We cannot live without it. So, and that's especially the case, when we talk about the base switching from being a C-130 transporter plane to being a cyber command, and the need for alternate, internet connection, not to mention the need of the campus in terms of online education and research, not to mention the need of businesses for commerce and online, activities, not to mention the need for a different school to provide those online education. Much to the chagrin of students, because they probably will not have any more snow days, right? With the availability of internet and computers and things like that. So I brought the idea to Commissioner Vero, who ran with it. And then I also brought it up to the Lieutenant Governor Houston at the time, who referred me to Broadband Ohio, and then in the Department of Development. We invited Broadband Ohio to the community here. We had a lot of meeting with the commissioner, with the chamber, with the city, and see what can we do in order to make that happen along Route 30, install the fiber optics infrastructure. And because in our area of the state, we did not have what they call the middle mile. The middle mile is the precondition of fiber optics installation in order to provide the last mile that goes to businesses and homeowners and industry and things like that. And so based on the number of miles, broadband between, in fact, the project expanded after we started here. So we connected to Canton and to Lima as well. And based on the estimate of Broadband Ohio, said based on the number of miles and how much it costs per mile to do that, we're probably looking at needing about $20 million. And as Commissioner Vero indicated, the project have seen its ups and downs in terms of, thanks for the help of Representative John, we got it through the House only to find out later that was allocated the wrong source of fund. And so, thanks for the hard work of the commissioner, Representative John, Chamber, Mayor Jody Perry and the Chamber Barrett, especially, and Ellen Hines, through a lot of support of advocacy that went through this, we were able to talk with the speaker. The critical thanks really go to Speaker Huffman for making sure it's going to be going through. And I'm very pleased to say that, we got it through. So that was a result of a lot of hard work and, in my opinion, a lot of prayer as well. But I will end with the words of Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So we're very pleased to be here this morning. Senator John?
So, good morning. I am so happy to be home in Richland County. And these things don't happen by accident. It takes a lot of thoughtful preparation, and it takes a lot of collaboration. And that's really what Richland County is about and has been about for a long time now. This was not my idea. This was born here in the county amongst all of you, and you worked really hard. When you brought me the idea, I thought it was genius. And so I'm really proud. I think I have the best district in the state of Ohio. All 99 districts, I have the best because we work the best together. When I talk with my colleagues, especially since passing the budget last week, I've had colleagues say, "Are you getting hammered by your locals?" I said, "No, because we work together and we have trust and faith." I think everybody in Richland County has my cell phone. So we work together really well. And I think this project is just an example, just the latest example of so many projects that we've been able to come together, collaborate on. So thank you, Dr. Diab, Commissioner Vero, Commissioner Mears and Banks, and Mayor Perry, the 179th. You brought a great project forward that I was really proud to be able to work on with you. And my job was just to make connections. I'm very thankful to Speaker Huffman for his support of the project. We met with him when he was president of the Senate.
Yes.
And one of the things I remember out of that meeting that we talked about is everybody was so surprised when we showed them the map of broadband and how empty North Central Ohio was of broadband connections. And we talked about how this could be a model for how to expand broadband around the state of Ohio. And that might surprise some people who are not familiar with Richland County. It is not surprising to me as a member of this community that we would be looked at as a model of how to get things done around the state of Ohio and the country. So I'm grateful that I get to represent all of you and that I get to be part of this team to bring this kind of investment back to not only Richland County, but this is going to impact so many communities across North Central Ohio. So thank you for all of the work that you all did.
What you're looking at here, that's actually a map of Ornet, which the project will be a part of, which is the Ohio Academic Resources Network. I'll turn over the technical parts to the smart people. You can see the gap in the network, and then you can also go in Broadband Ohio. All of us have driven along Route 30, right? For the most part. I think we know it's a pretty rural stretch of Ohio in areas that are certainly in need, as Doc said, of what we consider utility now, so to speak, of high-speed internet. To add to the history, and then we'll kind of turn it over to Barrett, Jim, Jody. Doc, I show we first met on the project in 2023. So it was you, myself, and Peter Voderberg, who's the CEO of Broadband Ohio. I went through calendar search. I show roughly 32 meetings over 2 years, several trips to Columbus, in person, Zoom, and that doesn't include, Marilyn, how many times we talk about that? How many times have all of us talked about this project on the phone? So this is a culmination, and I want to especially thank James over there who has taken real interest and invested his time with the County Commissioners Association to speak to legislators, to keep me apprised of what's going on. I know Doc and I don't sleep very much. So we were texting this morning at 6 a.m, scouring the internet to make sure it wasn't vetoed. And James, shortly after, it shows he got up this morning and he said, you went through, go ahead, James, if you talk about what you did to help us.
So today, the at 2 a.m., the governor did release his veto messages of 67 items. So yeah, I mean, coming through all of it, first, second glance, looks like the broadband Route 30 project is safe. It's not included in that. As far as everything else, I'll have to go through that, but the Route 30 project is good. So.
Now, if I'm looking at the actual language, it would be 10, comma 450, comma 00. So roughly 10.5 million would be appropriated to the project in 26, with the remaining balance to 20 million in 2027. So anything you can speak to on that?
Yeah, that's correct. So the appropriation, will become, will become available July 1st. So today, under the Ohio Constitution, appropriations are available during that first fiscal year there. I believe that was under the Department of Development. It was under the special or priority projects line. So the Department of Development should get in contact with Richland County and continue those next steps. So they'll contact you guys and talk to you about that.
So Barrett, you're the technical person in the group. I have terribly explained what a point of presence. So as part of this project, our Richland County will have a point of presence known as a POP in or around the airbase, which was significant to us in the city of Mansfield, certainly. So if you guys could explain the technical significance of what a POP is, and then
How I became the technical expert.
yeah,
I mean, the easiest way to think of this is to look at the map, and it looks like similar to the freeway network, and those dots are similar to on and off exit ramps of the freeway. So this is a similar process on the broadband side. Again, because as Dr. Diab mentioned, this is middle mile infrastructure, not last mile infrastructure. So it is lots of high speed traffic with kind of limited access like a freeway. So that point of presence is the way to connect lots of assets in a community into that network that's then going to go be part of the internet backbone.
that's super clear. Yeah. Everyone got that?
Very good explanation. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why you're the technical guy. So Mayor, the base is certainly located within the city. Route 30 runs through all of Richland, obviously through the heart of Mansfield, and Route 13. Could you please let the people of Richland County know what this means for Mansfield first, specifically, and then what it means just obviously with your background in economic development, what it means not only for Richland County from an economic development perspective, but I know the Crawford County Commissioners have been extremely interested in this project, as that is an area of their county that does not have high-speed internet capability. So if you could expound a little bit upon that.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is definitely a clear win for Richland County and in particular the city of Mansfield. You know, the base transition has it's probably I would say it is the most significant economic development project in this county for quite many years in the past. So, you know, when they came and said, you know, obviously the internet is the strong backbone of what they're doing out there. We're going to need more juice, so to speak, running to support their network. That was really a significant part of, I think, moving the needle on this. It certainly is something that will help national security. It also has that byproduct of all the other uses that Dr. Diab outlined. So we know that, you know, not having enough fiber out to our industrial park as we expand has been a concern. So this kind of allows us continued expansion out there, as well as brings other options into the community itself. And that will be the case for other communities. So this is also one of those projects that I started wearing one hat at the chamber, and I'm finishing wearing the mayor's hat. I do think, it's a clear win for all of Route 30. We were the county driving it because, of the base and the point of presence that's going to be here. But make no mistake, every county that's within that footprint is going to have the ability to be able to tie in if they so choose. And I think that's a significant step forward for North Central Ohio as a whole.
Barrett, I'm going to ask you this question because again, you're the IT guru of the committee. It's obviously it's important for economic development, but there's also, the way I understand Ornet to work is they save or reserve so much space for the internet service providers then to, I don't want to say tap into again, I don't. But there's a chance for people who live along that stretch of the corridor to now have the capabilities to purchase high-speed internet. Doesn't mean they're automatically going to get it, but now the backbone is in that corridor. So if you live in a rural part of Ohio along Route 30 and don't have high-speed internet, this certainly opens the door for that capability. Is that right? I think, I don't know how to say it.
Yes. So the local ISPs, internet service providers that are going to build fiber out to all the last mile stuff out to people's homes and businesses, they have to then connect into the internet backbone structure somewhere. And the further away that connection is, the more expensive a build out in a rural place becomes. So running this internet backbone middle mile structure through the middle of the state in North Central, that makes all those connection points into the backbone much closer. So all those communities that, it was very prohibitively expensive to do a broadband infrastructure build out to homes and businesses. It's exponentially cheaper when that connection point is a quarter mile instead of 5 miles.
And the more we're able to provide it to the rural community, the more entrepreneurship capabilities we have, okay, and the more remote work possibilities that we have for everybody.
And this also helps with the ongoing work of Broadband Ohio. Their goal, as I understand it, is to help with the last mile. And so they've received an extraordinary amount of money from the federal government to work to get internet capabilities to every home business within the state of Ohio. And so this will help tremendously in North Central Ohio, Broadband Ohio, reach those goals.
I think, James, I don't want to speak for people, but I think Cheryl will be okay. I always, when we talk to CCAO, Marilyn, you don't hear from Richland until Richland needs you to be heard. And I think Cheryl, I'm talking to Cheryl Subler, who's the CEO, she laughed and she says, man, no one works it like Richland, which means we don't bother you until we bother you. So you don't want to hear from us because, I know Doc was tireless. Marilyn, I think we talked every day, unfortunately for you, probably the past 2 weeks about this. Some of the House bills that were out there, she'd much rather talk to her soon to be, you're gonna be a grandmother, right?
I am any day.
So, right. And while she's gonna be a soon to be grandmother, she was always available. I talked to Mark Romanchuk on a Saturday morning about this. So our state senator and state reps are always available. And I know they hate when they see me calling, but we have things to discuss. So it's a great project. It's a great day for Richland. And I think we'll open it up for questions. Carl.
So who does the actual work on this in terms of RFPs and the actual construction? Is it ODOD in conjunction with local? Because obviously we're going multi-county here from Canton to Lima. So there's no one individual county. So how does all that work?
Go ahead, Marilyn.
My understanding that it'll be, first of all, this is the largest project that I've worked on for the county. So as far as what I can remember anyway, I've got to think back over 15 years. So it's my understanding it will be coordinated through the Department of Development where the money was allocated. And so, but it will definitely be, I will ensure that Richland County is at the table throughout this process.
We'll talk with the Ohio Department of Development and then see, issue the RFP, excuse me, for that. So we can look at it maybe as a whole project between Canton and Lima, or maybe preferably for us, right? From Mansfield to Canton, from Mansfield to Lima, and see how that may work out and go from there.
In the early phases of talking, it's funny, we were already talking about if this gets approved, because it's all right, who do we call? I mean, I will get with James today and tomorrow and say, all right, who are we starting to contact in ODOD to get this going? But in the framework of the project, obviously with the POP going at the airbase, and if you look at the map, Mansfield's pretty much in the center. The plan is to start and then build out. Obviously, we want to get that POP built. So that was the early framework or conception of how we envision the project to go. Obviously, we'll have any necessary bidding requirements. It's funny, as this got closer to the finish line, you start hearing more from people who are involved in the internet business. So it's funny how that works, but that's a good thing. So I've already heard from 2 people, and I told them once we know, they'll know. So this morning, I see Carl already had his article ready to go. So we will do what Richland does. We will work the phones immediately and we'll get moving.
You guys developed or came up with the $20 million figure. Did ODOD participate in that, trying to figure out how exactly what it's gonna cost? If there's cost overruns, is that gonna fall on local communities? How does that work?
I don't think we have the exact, we felt 20 was, that estimate came in conjunction with Ornet and Broadband Ohio, which is part of ODOD, and conversations with ISPs who showed some initial interest in what their cost estimates were. So certainly it's not an exact science because you don't know what's going to have to go in the ground, what can't go in the ground. But the estimate to build it across the state of Ohio was 20 million. And we hope that'll still be the case. We just don't know.
Tony, just you use the term pop, define that for me so I know what that is.
Point of presence, and I defer all technical answers to,
So it's like you plug in at that spot, right?
And it's like a lot of things at that spot.
Sure.
That's what makes it special.
and Barrett, the closer you are to it, we're talking splitting hairs here, but the closer, the faster it's gonna be. And then my understanding is when you tie into a POP, and then they also connect to a network access point. Is that correct? In some certain circumstances or instances? It goes from like a POP to a network access point to another POP, and the line's split off of there. Yes, no?
That's kind of why it's also referred to as the middle mile.
And that's the expensive stuff, Greg, because it's many, many miles along Route 30. And that's why, again, rural areas struggle. In talking to residents as we've done our broadband expansion, the costs are, residents can have the option to pay for it, but I've talked to some residents where their estimates have been $30,000 just to get high-speed internet to their house. It's, as we said, Andrew, our average cost in our broadband project is roughly $11,000 to $12,000 per customer. It's an $8 million, $8.2 million broadband expansion project in the northern part of the county that would enable 750 customers to just purchase high-speed internet. Is that right, Andrew? Give or take?
Yeah, I mean, our contribution is 2 million
Right.
spread across 748 locations. But our investment represents a quarter of the total cost. I had a question on, I don't know if Commissioner you would know or Representative John, but has the Ohio Department of Development had any conversations with the Federal Department of Transportation regarding right-of-way utilization along Route 30? Not that we would expect there to be ultimately any resistance, but I know that's a process with the federal government and it is a US highway. Do we know, is that conversation potentially still need to be had with the Department of Development?
So
They talked to ODOT at a point in time and they've indicated that there should be no issues. ODOT thought there was plenty of right of way. So,
Good.
yeah, nobody has said the Federal Department of Transportation, so I don't know.
Oh,
The BEAD program is for the
ODOT.
last mile, and that's where the money is coming from, the Fed on that one, and that's why.
The answer is sort of. Yeah, there's been conversations with ODOT. I will say there hasn't been a ton of messaging coming back from ODOT that the feds would be heavily involved. That's not to say they wouldn't. But the initial feedback from ODOT, and again, these weren't high level, but they're aware of the project, and they at the time indicated there should not be any issues in getting right of way for the project. Now the details are gonna come now that there's funding for it, but at no point in time did ODOT indicate there would be a lot of issues with the project. Don't jinx it now. Now more. Anything else?
Is there an estimate? I know you mentioned, you asked this, you mentioned maybe starting in Richland County since it's in the center. Has ODOD said, yeah, that's what we're gonna do, or is there an estimation for exactly how any word yet from the state on whether this project starts in the center and builds out, whether it goes east to west or west to east?
No, I mean, it was, the governor just signed the budget 9 hours ago.
And he was still doing vetoes.
Just a few.
So much more conversation. Now the real work begins.
Yes.
I mean, the preparation, but all of it, again, this didn't just happen. It didn't happen by accident. It's due to all of the work that's taken place up till now over the last 2 years. Thank you, Dr. Diab. Whoever thought of this concept of using the right of way. I know in the meetings that I participated in, people were really impressed. We've never thought of that
Yeah.
before. So, but now the real work begins, getting the project underway.
Great. Anything else?
Maybe a question for Mel. So obviously 71, hugely traveled road, a lot of development on 71. I don't want to say that 30 is underdeveloped, but do you think this will help having that infrastructure there? I'm assuming that there's fiber running up and down 71 already, correct?
On the map,
Or not so?
What we found out is that there is no definitive list of where
Correct.
fiber is. So
Okay.
it is not structured in the way that you can ask a municipality where the water and sewer lines, or you can, PUCO is saying this is where all the transmission gas lines and electric lines are. Fiber is,
There's also not a ton of incentive to cooperate amongst the ISPs because they certainly want to keep their locations known to them to make money off of their location. So it was an interesting process because ISPs are interested, but then if you ask them, so where exactly is all your fiber in that area? Well, like Barrett said, there's no dedicated source of fiber. And as you see the Broadband Ohio map, you can clearly see there are significant gaps in that stretch of Ohio. Because again, we're not all technical people, but you can drive it and see it's very rural.
Yes.
And that's where the areas of Ohio are behind in terms of high-speed internet. So you don't have to work for Spectrum or Brightspeed to know that Route 30 is in need of high-speed fiber.
But will this potentially bring development along Route 30? Absolutely. I mean, any internet is essential to any business. It's essential to a community. COVID, we got a lot of awful things from COVID, but there were things that COVID highlighted, and the need for greater internet accessibility definitely was something that was highlighted, especially when schools went online, colleges went online, businesses had to send their employees home. They had to depend on internet, and there are homes in Richland County and throughout rural Ohio that are still on dial-up. If we can even imagine that. And so will this spark additional development? I believe it will enhance any other development and bring opportunities to counties that may not see other opportunities coming their direction. So this is a huge win for North Central Ohio.
Mark?
Will this go into effect in 2027 then, Tony, or?
Takes effect today.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's funding, I believe 10.5 million for 26. Any amount that's not used will then get rolled into 27. there's 9.5 for 27, and then any funds from 26 that are not used.
And the internet will be effective though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
That's yet to be determined.
Yeah, and that would be the process when the Department of Development reaches out to Richland County, and I think all those details will be hashed out during that process.
Just as we've done, we'll push the envelope, make sure things are happening.
I mean, the base is coming up, they're gonna need to be fully operational in 2027, I think.
I think so.
So that timing for us, I think, works. But obviously, when you're talking about right of way in a lot of different jurisdictions, there'll be some time for it to get built out, but.
And private property owners will be glad to know that the expectation is to primarily use public right of way. Because we did have some concerned property owners come probably a couple of years ago now.
Yep.
That were concerned about the impact on their property, and the public should understand that this is primarily.
Initial feedback is very minimal, but we don't want to say for sure. Again, that's the hope that it would have very little impact on private property owners. It could, we don't want to say that it won't, but the initial feedback was expected to be minimal.
One more clarifying question. To bid this out for that trunk between, I guess, Lima and Canton it is. How is that gonna work and
So that will be handled through the Department of Development. Even though Richland County put out the original RFP.
Yeah, went through the chamber.
Went through the chamber and did the original RFP to, and that was really to develop what a cost could be, so that we could even submit. Like initially, we didn't know what to submit, to even ask for. So that was the initial, but the, moving forward, it will be mostly through the Department of Development with the help of Richland County and the other, communities.
so that scope, it's not gonna be piecemealed like just Richland County, then Crawford, it'll be that full, it'll be bid out as that full stretch.
I think that that's probably yet to be determined. If we can begin it here in Richland and, as Commissioner Vero said, start here and then move out from both directions, but that could be all one project. So we'll have to work through that with the
The
department.
talk was just that, and I think, didn't we say going east to start? I better not. I mean, it made sense to start, it's not to say if ODOD says, hey, it'd be better to start here and move there. Certainly selfishly, Richland drove the project. The air base in Mansfield is getting the pop. We want to start, and from a geographical standpoint, we want to start in Mansfield. But that doesn't mean if ODOD says, hey, starting in Crawford might be a little better. And then, I mean, we're not tied to it, but we're going to certainly make sure that Richland is at the forefront in terms of the project, because again, it's where the point of presence is, and Richland's been taking the lead on the project. So from a selfish standpoint, we want to start in Richland.
And the air base was a critical piece to this project.
100%.
So I think part of the process is they will kind of break this into sections and bid those out for companies to go build. And then ORNet needs to be involved because it will end up being their network. And so then it kind of depends on who gets those successful bids and what their construction timelines look like. So it could start, we could bid out all those sections at once, and then, this piece is won by this company and they have time to go build now. So that part will kind of just depend on company availability. Often they are built and owned by private companies, and then they lease a section, like a certain number of those fibers to ORNet to be this middle mile infrastructure. So they have additional strands of fiber in what they're laying, what they use to sell to other companies that are doing the ISP build outs to last mile stuff, other places in that stretch.
Okay. Thank you all, James. A special thank you for taking the drive up from C-Bus and pouring through not once but twice all the vetoes to make sure that the project was a go. So thank you again, everyone. Lots of work to do. I will reach out to ODOD today, and and Doc's treating us to lunch, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah. So
Right.
anybody say Francois?
Invited, so
We're having it at O'Charlie's at 11:45.
So we will recess for 11 minutes. All right, like the Jet Express to Put in Bay, we are on time. Let's get moving. Motion to certify the record of proceedings for June 26, 2025.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes. Abstain. And I even had abstain on my notes. Abstain.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right, motion to approve requisition.
Second.
Vero.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right, next up, we have a request from JFS to authorize or asking our authorization to hire 3 employees. Those employees would be Tiffany Bohr, Russell Potter, Katie Dernbath. The start date would be July 17th, 2025. These would be for eligibility referral specialist 2. We already previously approved the probationary period. Bohr's starting rate would be 1926, Potter's would be 1945, and Dernbath's would be 1685. May we have a motion?
And the reason for that is that one of them is for unit support worker. They're all 3.
Oh, you are correct. Thank you, Daryl. I misread that.
And I second the motion.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right, next up, we have a request for maintenance to approve a repair estimate from Allied Restaurant Services of Ohio for a thermostat potentiometer. I had to Google that yesterday to figure out what the heck that was. This would be for $864. May we have that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Banks.
Yes.
All right, motion to accept the resignation of a Dayspring probationary employee effective June 23rd of 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Okay. We will recess and come back with America's engineer, Adam Gove.
They do, yes.
Okay, it is 9:45. We are back in session, joined by the Richland County Engineer, Adam Gove. He's got a lot of projects here seeking approval, which is a good thing. The first one is the Noble Road resurfacing contract. Adam, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So this is going to repair and resurface the section of Noble Road from State Route 13 to the first entrance into the Rumpke landfill. If you remember last year, we improved between the two entrances at the landfill, and this is just all the way out to 13. Engineer's estimate for the project was $313,498. We had two bids, and Kokosing Construction Company right here in Mansfield was the apparent low bidder. The bid of $305,864.25. Like I said, repairing approximately 2,000 feet of roadway and resurfacing. And also like to mention that the Solid Waste Management Agency is also helping pay for part of this project. So with that, I would recommend awarding the bid to Kokosing Construction Company.
It's the area where we've gotten the complaints, right?
Yes, several. Yeah, there's several areas on Noble that have been complaints, and this wraps up most of those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
All right, Adam. Asphalt resurfacing on Mansfield, Washington Road. Talk to us.
Yep. So this is our hot mix asphalt resurfacing project. Unfortunately, a little smaller this year, only resurfacing 3.1 miles of roadway with hot mix asphalt. We did receive two bids, and Chili and Sands Incorporated here in Mansfield was the apparent low bidder with a bid of $518,698.05. This is less than our estimate, which was $542,963.75. And the Ohio Public Works Commission, we did receive a grant to cover, I believe it was around 45% of the cost of this resurfacing project.
Motion to approve.
Don't move.
Second.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Quite a bit lower.
Yeah, good bids this year.
All right, Adam, next. Resurfacing again.
Yep, this is our C-cap resurfacing cold constructed asphalt. We are doing 10.5 miles of resurfacing with this material. Our engineer's estimate was $700,518.50. We did only receive one bid for this work from Earthworm Construction LLC out of Iberia, Ohio. Their bid was $760,087.50. This is 8.5% more than our estimate, but less than the 20% which we are allowed to award up to. Having received no other bids and having worked with them in the past, I would recommend that we award the contract to Earthworm Construction.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears, Commissioner Banks.
All right, Adam, you're at requesting the purchase of a 2026 Ford F-350.
Yep. So we did not purchase a new pickup truck last year. Purchased some used ones from ODOT. We try to keep our foremen in good working vehicles. Those are the ones that are responding to call outs, down trees, checking roads when there's ice and snow. So this will be replacing I believe is a 2017 Chevy 3500, which will be used in our fleet. That one, we won't get rid of it. We'll go down into our regular fleet of trucks. And I did look, the last new one we purchased in 23 was actually about $15 more than what we're paying for this one. So prices have not gone up substantially in our pickup trucks, so.
This is addition to fleet.
Correct. But what will happen is that one will get moved down, the one we're replacing, and then that will kick out I think it's a 2005 truck we're using for our service vehicle, mechanic service vehicle. So we'll repurpose the 2017 into a service vehicle.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Second. Cheaper than the state bid.
Correct. Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Mears.
Yes.
Banks.
Yes.
Okay. Last on the list of engineer items is request to accept parcels of right-of-way for Marion Avenue Road Bridge Project. Adam, take it away.
So I think we have two of the three right-of-way parcels that are required for additional easement for this bridge replacement. We're still negotiating with the third, so the standard bridge replacement on Marion Avenue, right at the intersection of Millsboro Road, and scheduled for next year's construction.
Yeah, so the third,
Negotiating. They're not happy that we're taking a little bit of additional land and having to cut down some trees.
Give you a hard time?
No.
I think he's a real good guy.
Yeah.
I know him. He's hard worker, works at ArcelorMittal in Shelby. He's a good dude.
Okay.
and see both of these are gifts. Nice.
One's not.
One was one donation, one for the value that submitted by the appraisal.
679. Other three are gifts.
What was 679? Actually, both of these identified as gift donation.
There's a total of 4, so 3 are gifts. A parcel 12S each with Mr. Blankenship, $679. All 4.
Yeah, so there are 2 parcels. Each parcel had a permanent easement and then a temporary easement for construction purposes, so.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Motion, do we have a motion? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So moved.
Second.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Any questions for the engineer here?
Quick question on the PCAP, that those 10.1 miles, are those that one section of road, or is that kind of scattered throughout the county?
It is scattered. There are 4 roads, Taylortown, Deininger, Swigert, and Hastings Newville. Yep.
Only other question I had, because I don't think I've ever asked before, it might be different for all these, so if it is, just let me know, but one with the different resurfacing contracts, the portions that aren't covered by things like the grant, is there a fund for this work where it kind of comes out of?
So that comes out of our 2 budgets that we have, which is made up of the license plate and gas tax fees. That's where the additional money comes from.
Okay, anything else? We will recess and come back at 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Stop yelling at me, Stacy.
Okay, it is 10 a.m. Busy morning this morning. We are joined by the auditor's office, the Pat Dropsy, Matt the Thrill Hill, and our favorite person in the IT department, Sherry Hyde. So,
It's your only favorite person, right?
I mean, if you knew everyone that works up there, and we do, it's not that big of a threshold to be the favorite. So take it away, Matt and Pat.
Good morning.
Matt and Pat. Sat on a bat.
Tag team duo, huh?
I'm just here to support you.
Yeah, so currently, this is talk about links. That's the system we use currently to notify courthouse security and sheriff's office if there's trouble in this building. Fighting, things like that. That system's really old and outdated. You know, from past experience, we kept having issues with the wireless buttons just going off automatically and, you know,
Or not going off.
or not going off when they're supposed to.
We pay for that.
Mixture of both.
What are we paying for?
What's that?
We pay for links.
$3,000 a year. Exactly 3,000. And that only covers this building. Okay, it doesn't cover any other building like Longview or anything like that. So I got with Schmidt to see what we could do with something integrated with our current access control system. And they recommended a system called Threat Extinguisher. They are local to Ohio. They're out of, I believe, Westerville. They're down in Columbus there. Everything's handled here in the state from them. So everything's made right here in Ohio. They came back with a quote of $17,123.25. This is for all new hardware to replace the old Lynx system. And that covers just this building. And then our yearly cost for this is $1,250. So a lot cheaper yearly than with Lynx, and it's outdated. This is a little bit better. This is on a cloud. We do have an internal server here, but it runs off of our internet, and we do have backup internet, and we also have everything's connected to the generator. So this system would still stay up even if the building lost electricity. We would still have this and access control in the building. So basically,
Secrets don't make friends. It's a public meeting.
so kind of here just asking for a little bit of help.
How long you expect this will live?
Forever, Cliff. That's my goal. We do, this does.
Ask you, I just did some quick math. It's it's $1,758 a year cheaper. So for 10 years, in 10 years, it's paid off.
Yeah, and I think the good thing about this company is that they're all about cutting edge. So they're always upgrading, changing, adding new things.
It is an open-ended system though.
And it's, yeah.
What does that mean?
That means there's no end of life expectancy. It's similar to what our Munis system is, to where you're not tied into a specific program per se. It can constantly expand, it can constantly be upgraded without having to deal with, new hardware, every 4 or 5 years, like end of life useful time on old style of computer technology.
Expect the licensing fee to change over time from the $1,750?
I always expect everything to go up. It's just the way it is now.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Don't know.
So is this a contract for a certain number of years?
This falls underneath of our yearly maintenance agreement with Schmidt, so just be billed part of that. And this is, you can keep it or leave it. There's no, even if Schmidt left the building and we went with a different access control, we could still keep this because it's compatible with everything. It just needs an internet connection and a couple wires, and then they could tie it into a new system. Or we could go with something completely different and still keep Schmidt. We're not tied into this company. Out of all the ones that we looked at, this one was probably by far the easiest.
and overall the cheapest. It links, you gotta have credits to send out text messages and things like that. So if you go over your credits, you're gonna get billed more. This is not like that. This is all controlled by us. So this will show up on computers, sends texts, sends emails, makes phone calls. We're gonna have it, Schmidt's working with DRM to get get notifications on our TVs out in the hallway. And I think that's probably been my biggest, why don't we do this anyway, since we got the TVs? Because the public really doesn't know if something's happening in this building. That would cause them to have to shelter or evacuate if there's like a bomb threat or something. So they've been kind of left up to the mercy of somebody being nice and running out there and telling them there's something happening in the building, which is not safe for employees either, because if there is a shooter, you're getting employees in the line of fire then.
Are people safer, right?
Keeps everybody safer in this building. Like I said, I do know that Russ with Schmidt has been working with DRM to get this added on there, and it's just something that they have to do on their server on the back end, and we're good to go. So it's kind of nice. We have two companies that are working together to make a third company work. So, but yeah, basically this is cheaper in the long run, I believe. But my thought and my overall goal was to push this out to other buildings, Longview, it's kind of iffy with child support and those kind of state ones, if we're allowed to even do that. But I know we have a couple other buildings that this would probably be a good thing in. I know we've had issues out at Longview.
We tried here a little bit, but then it
That's my thought, Daryl's maybe try this for a year, 6 months to a year.
You think?
We have some non-county entities in there, so I mean, it could work for that too.
Sherry, what do you think? They telling us the truth?
But no, I think it's a good product. I think it will work very well for us. JJ liked it. Captain Sweat, he thought it looked good. His biggest concern was how it gets back to dispatch, and all those questions were answered to him. So I think everybody that would respond to something here, they're fine with it.
Makes sense. Pays for itself, 10 years.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Moved.
Second.
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks,
Appreciate your time.
team. All right, we will recess and come back at 10:30.
We saw a video on this back in February.
Okay, it is 10:30. We are back in session. At this time, I'll ask for motion to go into executive session to discuss discipline of a public employee.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yep.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right, we are back in session. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to accept the resignation of an employee at our dog warden department effective July 7th.
So moved.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Okay, we will recess until 10:45. All right, back in session at 10:45. Very busy day today. This time I'll ask for motion to go into executive session to discuss compensation of a public employee.
Second.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Dr. Mears, Banks.
Yes.
We are back out of executive session. At this time, I'll ask for a motion that we point factor the Assistant Deputy Auditor of Real Estate at a total of 469. This is in the auditor's office, which would be a pay grade 8. We have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
All right, we will recess, or excuse me, we will adjourn at 11:29.
Yep.